This is Idaho Media Showcase. Exploring all facets of media production throughout our beautiful state of Idaho.
Good evening and welcome to Idaho Media Showcase. My name is Lance Thompson, I'm your host, and our guest tonight is writer, producer, and principal at Wide-Eye Productions, Jennifer Isenhart. But before we get to our guests, we have a few announcements about media events coming up on the week February 28th to March 3rd. So I'm going to read from those because I haven't memorized them yet. First of all, Idaho Media Professionals Monthly Mixer is Tuesday night, February 28th at 5:30 p.m. at the Bardney in Eagle. For more information, you can check out the Facebook page or the website at idahomediapro.org. That's a real fun mixer. Everybody's welcome. The food is good, the drinks are good, and the company is very convivial. For more information on this event or others, I have one myself. I have a script writing workshop, screen story workshop, the weekend of March 24th and 25th. It's at Stevens Henniger College. It'll be 9 to 4 both days. And if you want more information on that, email me at scriptdoc88@gmail.com. It's a great event. We're limited to 16 students, and it's a lot of fun. For more information about that or any other events, or to contribute to this media event calendar, please email us at, this is a lot of letters coming really fast, but I'll go slow, IMSTVINFO. So that's Idaho Media Showcase TV Info, IMSTVINFO.com. Or check out events calendar at idahomediashowcase.com. That concludes our announcements. And now I'd like to introduce our guest, Jennifer Isenhart. Jennifer Isenhart, thanks for coming.
Hello, thanks for having me, Lance.
Jennifer is a producer and writer and a principal at Wide-Eye Productions. And I just looked her up on the LinkedIn on the LinkedIn page, and this resume goes on and on. I even typed it out really small, but
people actually read that stuff?
I did, just so I could know. Documentary producer and producer at KTVB News Group, news reporter at KVEW Television, radio reporter and anchor at Northwest Public Radio. Your work has won Emmy Awards, it's won Telly Awards, International Wildlife Film Festival recognition, Best Children's Program. It goes on and on and on. I only had one page. So we are honored to have you as our guest this evening.
Thank you.
So Jennifer, tell us a little bit about what Wide-Eye Productions is. What do you do?
Well, we're a full-service production company, so concept to completion. We've been working in HD since, gosh, I guess we got an HD camera, one of the first HD cameras in Boise, so we've been working in that format for quite a long time, and lately we've been having fun with 4K formats with some of the red camera stuff. Had some neat opportunities to work with that. But yeah, every one of our staff members has kind of a long history in programming and long form storytelling, so we tend to gravitate more toward sort of more long form programming, maybe longer form corporate work. We do also corporate and marketing work in addition to television and documentary work. So not so much 30-second commercial spots, but more longer storytelling kinds of pieces. So
very good. And one of your recent projects is called Wave Chasers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that? And I think there's some adventurous stories that go along with that.
Yeah, it's always an adventure producing television. That's been a really interesting project. We've been working with a team of oceanographers out of the University of Washington, and these guys are physical oceanographers. They study the ocean. In particular, this team is studying deep underwater internal waves, and these are waves that are taller than skyscrapers. They're like 800-foot tall waves, and they build and crest about 12,000 feet beneath the surface of the sea. So they're very, very deep down underneath the sea. And what this team is finding out is that these internal waves are all over the world's oceans, and they actually have a huge impact on the global climate. And we started working with them. We were pitching a series to national cable. We have done a lot of television pitches to national cable networks, and we connected with this team, and they said, hey, you know, we've got this other really cool idea too, and we started working with them and put together a demo reel and a pitch for wave chasers is what we're calling it. Yeah. Very good.
And you are working on that now? It's in production, or?
Yeah, that project, we're pitching it to some national entities, cable networks, and programming executives, but at the same time we're moving forward with also producing our own independent documentaries. So the world of network programming is really fickle. The moods shift, by the hour. It almost seems like, with what the programming needs are and what's the hit of the week, and everyone's kind of chasing the hit of the week. If one network has a certain hit with a program that's doing really well, like Swamp People, well then, a whole bunch of other networks are going to kind of jump on that bandwagon and pick up similar programs. So we've just found the market to be really fickle and difficult for smaller companies like ourselves too. So we're going to plow ahead and go ahead and produce an hour-long documentary on this and seek our own distribution. We've been kind of getting connected to some syndication and international distribution outlets that we're going to go after. But so yeah, we're moving ahead with the 1-hour documentary on it, and have been all around the world to shoot for it so far. And Tom had a pretty good adventure off the coast of Hawaii a couple weeks ago, where the ship he was on sprung a leak in the hull and basically started sinking while he was shooting. So the documentary shoot turned into a Coast Guard rescue shoot.
So you added that production value just free of charge?
Yeah, yeah. The U.S. Coast Guard added a nice dramatic element to our documentary.
And you mentioned the distribution with this kind of programming. Are there more alternatives than there used to be beyond network or cable or?
Yeah, we've been working in pitching to national networks since probably about 2000, and the field has opened up quite a lot and closed down at the same time. It's pretty interesting. Online networks are starting to acquire programming, and the dollars are finally getting to a place where there's funding models that actually can work for decent quality programming with some of the online networks. And the closing down part is happening with the major cable networks, where there are a handful of super producer production companies that produce 90% of the programming that we see on cable television today. So for smaller production companies like ours, like Wide-Eye Productions, it's very difficult to break in with the big networks. If you're not a super producer, it can be really challenging.
So you will have to go toward the independent online channels and that financing, or be absorbed or be a contractor to one of the larger.
Yeah, pitch
producers.
Your ideas to a super producer. That's almost the way it's starting to work now for some smaller production companies. But there's also options with syndication. Like, syndication used to be your secondary avenue, right? After you had your first run of your series, well then you'd go into syndication, try and pick up some extra funding that way. Well, syndication is becoming a real viable first run opportunity for producers, where you kind of just bypass the whole network pitch process and go straight for just buying some time and getting your project out there. Then you're into a different funding model. You need to find sponsorship dollars, and you need to fund your project yourself, but at least it's doable. At least you're not beholden to a network saying yes or no.
A little bit more independence.
Yeah, Yeah.
And also you've recently taken on another job, which is president of the Idaho Media Professionals.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, how that came about, and what that organization does?
Well, were you involved in that initial phone call? No.
I may have been somewhat.
No. Well, I've been a member of IMP for quite a long time, and you know, frankly, honestly, just was so busy I hadn't been spending a whole lot of time with it. But then started going to some meetings again, and just realized what a great organization it is. You know, it really is a good thing for all of us in the media industry to get together, share ideas, you know, pool resources on some occasions, hopefully help advance media and media production in the state of Idaho as a group. You know, I think we all have a little more power when we work together. So I was approached and asked if I would be interested in taking over the president's position, and they caught me on a good day. I must not have been busy that day.
Very susceptible to suggestion.
But yeah, no, it's been a great experience. Just really enjoyed connecting with everyone and trying to you know, help out as much as I can.
So you said you've been a member since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen in terms of the media industry in Idaho, this part of Idaho especially? Are we growing? Are we failing? Or do we have the crew and the capacity, the talent? Where are we?
Yeah, well, it definitely, from my point of view, it seems to be growing for sure. And I think the sort of the democratization of all the equipment, you know, the price point for all the equipment has come down so dramatically since I've been in business that, you know, you can do just excellent quality work with the under $10,000 equipment package, you know, soup to nuts, you know, I mean, it's just pretty amazing. That number used to have a couple more zeros on it, you know, not too long ago.
Right, and that's also, as you said before, that's what's enabling the online channels to be able to finance programming, because the cost is less, so they...
Sure. Yeah, the price points come down. There's definitely more people in the game, and one of the things that I find really refreshing about that is that all these new and different voices and styles and people that are out producing projects. And I think that's inspiring. I love to see other people's work. That's one of the things I love about IMP, actually, is getting that opportunity to connect and see what other people are up to and get inspired by other people's work. So I think it's definitely growing in Idaho. I think as far as staffing goes, you know, do we have the resources? We have a lot of great resources in Idaho. Oh yeah, here's a brainstorming session that we had. Oh, it's gone.
Somebody thought of Jennifer.
Yeah, I was looking at it late. We recently had a brainstorming session at IMP where we reached out to all the members and just said, hey, you know, what do you guys want out of this organization, and really trying to steer IMP in the direction that'll most benefit our members.
What do you think? You said that democratization of the equipment is down. What about our talent pool and the skill set that we have here in Idaho? Do we have to? Does a production company have to go outside of the state to get qualified people? Do we have people here? Where are we with that?
I think we have a lot of qualified people here. I think it just depends on the size of the production. I mean, major feature films, I think we would have some ramping up to do. You know, just in terms of, like, one major feature film we could probably handle. Multiple major feature films at the same time, we probably don't have, you know, enough people to handle something like that. But I think the skill level and the level of professionalism that I see here in Idaho is on par with production work that I'm seeing, you know, from all over the world. You know, frankly, you know, there's some incredibly talented people here in this state.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So what, either as president of IMP or as the principal in WIDI, where do you see our media industry going the next few years? Will there be feature? I mean, we do independent feature films here already. Will we have more of that? where's the next wave of industry, you know, the new stuff coming? What will we see?
Gosh, I don't know if I have the answer to that. You know, things are changing so rapidly. I definitely think that the internet's just going to become, you know, more and more, it already is, you know, becoming such a platform for producers. I mean, that's how you can see what everyone around the world is producing, and that's how you can say, hey, you know, we stack up pretty well. I think the future of production in Idaho could be very bright. I know the Idaho Film Incentive is something that is coming up again here in the legislature, is coming up in Idaho, and I know the feature film industry would really like to see that put through, and I think that could have a major impact on the future of film production in Idaho. But I think, you know, there's always going to be production. I can't remember who told me, as long as there's electricity, we're going to be wanting to, you know, look at television sets. So I don't think it's going away. I think it's morphing and changing with the internet. Yeah.
You recently appeared on a panel discussion for the Idaho or Boise Business Roundtable.
Yeah.
And then the film incentive was discussed in the media industry. What did you get out of that, and what insights did you get, especially in terms of what the legislature's viewpoint of this was?
Yeah. Well, I thought it was a very interesting discussion, and I learned some interesting things from that discussion. You know, about the legislature's point of view. You know, on this issue. I personally think it should really be a discussion about jobs, you know, creating jobs in a new economy. You know, we're not a brick and mortar economy anymore. You know, we need to come up with new jobs with a new economy to keep Idaho, you know, keep jobs coming to Idaho, keep our economy healthy and strong. I think a big part of the educational process on a film incentive comes down to the numbers, and, you know, will the films really bring more money to the state than it costs the state to fund the film incentive? And some of those, you know, there's a lot of different ways to look at that math.
Sure.
And so if you're skeptical, you might look at that and say, oh, this is costing us too much. If you're an optimist, you can say, oh, well, those dollars will be spent 4 or 5 times, and it'll create a lot of tax money. It would be nice to, I think, have some kind of an economic study done to show, you know, that in fact it will, you know, pay for itself.
Well, I know when it was first discussed, the 2007-2008 legislative sessions, I think it got up to about 46 other states had some sort of film incentive.
Yeah.
And I think that's backed down a little bit. And I think the results have been, you know, both, you know, positive and negative. Some of the states have pulled back, and others have, you know, doubled down.
Right.
So I think certainly the information is out there. It's just, I guess, depending on if you're a supporter or against, you know.
Right. Yeah, I know Colorado right now is doing a big push to try and double their film incentive.
Right.
They really feel that it has great benefit to the state. You know, I think Idaho is a pretty similar state in terms of our production capabilities and backdrops, and you know, it'll be interesting to see how Colorado's bill does this year.
Yeah, and I know that originally our bill was based on the Utah incentive pretty closely,
Okay.
and their experience has been very positive.
Yeah.
But I always think it's because all of their scenery is right next to the freeway, where ours we have to get off the freeway to see it. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
So what's coming up next for Wide-Eye? You've got the Wave Chasers, the documentary, and possibly the show. Do you have other reality shows in line, or do you have other long form?
Yeah. We're actually working on some sports programming right now. Again, you know, just looking for projects where we can kind of secure our own distribution and not be beholden to, you know, a network executive saying yes or no. Sports programming tends to have a sponsorship base that can support the production.
So are you talking about live sporting events or
well, they'd be ENG shows. They'd be fully shot and then fully produced and edited in post-production. So kind of one of the shows we're looking at is a mountain bike race. It's just incredible mountain bike race that actually happens in Colorado. And so we're working on that right now, along with some other sporting events that we're hoping to put together.
Has technology made that the sporting events easier to do for you guys? I mean, I know they've got these cameras that fit in your helmet and on your boot and on the spokes of the bicycle and all that stuff.
Yeah, the POV cameras are really fun. There's some really neat new technology. Actually, we've been having fun looking at all the new possibilities for this particular show. One of the fun things that we're probably going to employ if this project moves forward is a cable cam. I mean, NFL's been using them for a long time, but smaller companies like us get excited about stuff like that. It's got a 1,000-foot run, and so we can, put a camera on this cable and just it'll go up to 40 miles an hour. So it'll just zing down the line with the mountain bikers.
And because you have a set course, you know where to put the cable.
Yep.
It's not
exactly. Yeah. And then another piece of equipment that I think we're going to pass on just because there's a lot of spectators on this particular project, but these RC helicopters are, they're amazing little things. I mean, you can throw a small camera on this thing and you can shoot these low-level aerials they're so cool. But safety factor, they've got like spinning blades, right 10 feet off the deck, so we decided that probably wasn't such a good idea on this project.
Well, I know you've attended some Boise Cutters meetings, and they showed a GoPro camera, and it was a mountain bike or some kind of bicycling thing, and I thought they had a RC helicopter because it was shot from right behind the guy's head. So I said, well, it's got to be something flying around, but it was just the camera was mounted on an aerial from his bicycle. So it was just like floating up there.
Yeah.
And it looked like, they've got a helicopter right, shading him and giving him the fanning him off and everything. So
yeah, there's a whole just amazing market for mounting apparatuses for those GoPro cameras, where you can mount them on these basically monopods that come out from harnesses, so that like a skier can actually have a high view down onto themselves instead of just off of their helmet. There's a lot of really fun new toys with those cameras.
So do you, you talked about the sports programming would be your production that you would distribute yourself, or?
Actually, that one would be for a client.
Okay.
We would be the production company for, it's a major sporting client that owns a lot of events around the country.
Do most of your clients, are most of them outside of Idaho, or do you have in-state?
Yeah, we have quite a few in-state clients. Most of our in-state clients are corporate clients, so we do a lot of corporate marketing, production work as well. Here in the state of Idaho, a lot of bread and butter work right here in Idaho.
Do you get, we've seen this in some other aspects of our industry, clients saying, you're an Idaho company, so we're not sure you can handle this, and we're thinking of going to LA, to Chicago, to whatever, to get our, to find somebody who's really big.
Yeah.
How do you counter that, and what is your answer to?
Well, it happens less and less, and I think
good.
that's because of that democratization of the, that used to be the attitude. In fact, in all of our network pitches, I would never put our address. For years, I would never put our company address. I would just put our website on our pitches, because we felt there was a bias from networks located in New York and Los Angeles. You're from where? Iowa? And so for years we felt that was really the case, but more and more I don't think there is so much of a bias. I think there are people doing great work all over the country, and I think that smart clients and smart companies will look at your reel instead of your address.
That's nice to
So
hear.
I don't worry about that as much as I used to.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you very much for coming to Idaho Media Showcase.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Oh, if people want to find out more about WideEye, do you have a website? Where do?
Oh yeah, yeah. Our website is just wideeye.tv, so they can hop on there.
And you have samples of your work and
yeah,
things that are going on.
We have a lot of samples, work samples, and interesting stuff around. We have a Facebook page too, kind of maybe more behind the scenes kind of stuff. So. Yeah.
We have a lot of our crew members here are from BSU and studying communications and media. Do you have advice for someone just starting out, someone graduating from with a communications major, somebody wants to get into production? What can you tell them? What to study? What to do?
Yeah, motion graphics design. Everyone go into motion graphics design. Yeah. Those people are really talented. Motion graphics artists are hard to come by. I would just say get your hands on as many of the different disciplines as you can. Find what you're really good at and specialize in that. There's a lot of one-man band operators out there too, though. So if that's a route you are interested in, rather than being an employee, take some business classes along with your media classes, because that's a big part of it. But if you are really interested in pursuing a career with a production company or a television station, if you can't land a job, get an internship. Do whatever you have to do to get an internship and get your foot in the door, because once people get to know you and get to know your work, then you're going to have a lot better shot at it.
Very good advice. And also, stop by one of the IMP luncheons or mixers, and you can meet people in the industry, and that'll help as well. I want to thank our outstanding BSU crew here today. I want to thank our producers, Tom and Gayla and Nick. And I want to thank our guest, Jennifer Isenhart. Thanks for coming, and thanks for sharing your wisdom and your experience with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Lance.
All right. We'll see you all next week, same time, same channel, same day probably. Come back and see us at Idaho Media Showcase, and we'll learn some more stuff and see some cool footage and pictures of Idaho, and we'll have more exciting guests. So thanks for showing up, and we'll see you next time.